now going to run you through the exercise of turning the LED on and off using an Arduino and Simulink. So here you can see the graphical user interface for MATLAB 2021A. The first step is to make sure that we're working in a suitable working directory. So if you just click here on MATLAB, you'll see in this case, if I click on, I'm going to work in the desktop and I'm going to work in a folder called LED exercise. So if I just select that folder. Now I'm going to open up Simulink, blank model. And as usual, I'm going to go simulation, library browser. And then what I need for the LED is I need an input signal. So I'm going to use the pulse generator. So I'm just going to drop that over. So that's from sources. From sinks, I'm going to get a scope so we can effectively view the signal that's been applied to the well, you'll see in pin 9 in a minute. Then if we go down to Simulink support package, and then if I just make that bigger, then we go to common. You'll see here what I'm looking for is digital output digital output block here, not pulse width modulation at the moment, just digital output. And you'll see by default it's at pin 9. Okay, so then what I want to do, as you've been doing before, just connect all this up. Okay, then if I just click on these afterwards, just so the names appear for a space afterwards, you can see the name remains there. So digital pin, double click on that. I can change the pin number there, but I'm in on the LED. I've got my wire for the power set to pin 9. The pulse generator, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to sample based, and amplitude I'm going to keep the same, which is 1. Period I'm going to keep same as number of samples 10, pulse width number of samples is 5, and then this. And then the sample time by default is 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 0.1. So what this will mean is that the period is effectively 1 second, and it means the pulse width, effectively the signal being applied, will be 0.5 seconds because the overall period is 1. So it'll be 0.5 seconds on, 0.5 second off. Amplitude of 1. What this will effectively mean, it will be applying a signal to pin 9 from the Arduino. So pin 9 effectively apply power for every 0.5 seconds. And what I mean by that is it'll effectively apply a voltage of 5 volts to pin 9. So that's now set up. Now if we go to, now we need to configure the board. So you need to make sure that your Arduino Uno is plugged in via a USB cable to your laptop, and you've wired up the configuration as you've seen in the lecture notes. So make sure you've got the LED, the resistor, and it's wired up to the Arduino Uno. So then if I just then click on model settings, and then go on hardware implementation, click on hardware board. The one we're using is the Arduino Uno. What it'll do then is it'll just configure that for you. And when it does that, it's configured. There's no other settings you need to change. Host board connection, it's by default, that'll automatically pick up the USB you're using. Click apply, then OK. Then you'll see this hardware tab appear. So if you click on that, what we're going to change now, the stop time, we're going to change that to infinity. So the simulation, well, this will effectively continue this until we click stop. And then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on monitor and tune, and that'll effectively upload this diagram. It'll convert it to C code onto the microcontroller for you. So I click on that, and this is the first time you run this. It's going to maybe take perhaps about a minute, 30 seconds, a minute. So you can see that now running. If I and yeah, you haven't got the Simulink coder, that'll come up, but it should still work if you haven't got that. And what I'm going to do is bring up this, and this is where you can see here. You can see as you remember the notes, pin 9 here. You've got the live running through this resistor, the LED, and then here you can see it going back to the ground. And you see the USB cable here. Let's remove this. this USB cable here being plugged into my computer. So give it a minute, so you can see here it's 175% ready. It's thinking anyway, you can see obviously by my mouse browser. So this is a good kind of exercise just to get you into using the Arduino Uno board. And then there's a few further exercises that you can look at where we use pulse width modulation and a few other blocks within Simulink. So what I can do is I can click on this scope here. I'm just going to make this smaller now. So if I just move that over here, you'll see here effectively the series of step inputs been applied here, or it's a unit step input that's been applied every 0.5 seconds, as I told you. So you can see that. So you can see the LED on and off every 0.5 seconds. If I click on pulse generator, what I could actually do is I could change some properties here in real time. So I could actually make the period 20 instead, and then because obviously the sample time is 0.1, that'll mean the period's 2 seconds, and because the pulse width is 5, it means it'll come on now for 0.5 and it'll be off for 1.5. And you can see that here. So you can see there, it's applying the unit step input for 0.5 and then removing it for 0.5. And you can see then the corresponding this happening on the illustration here, well, on the video, sorry. So Simulink's also great because you can change things in real time, like I've just shown you. This example is very simple, but yeah, as I said, literally you just change properties, click apply, and then you'll see the effect of that. And you can also put scopes on you can see there the change occurring. So it's now on for 1 second, off 1 second, and you can do this all in real time. And then finally, if you want to then stop the hardware and software here, what I can then do is click here and just click stop, and that will then stop for me. You see there here actually it's just remained the light on. So I hope that's been useful just to get you into using Simulink with an Arduino Uno. Refer back to the lecture notes if you want to know a little bit more in terms of this circuit board setup here. So I hope that's been interesting. If you've got any questions, please email me.